Today, I'm covering 13 signs that your job isn't working for you. Sometimes work just feels a little bit off and like it isn't working as well as we want it to be. But it can be hard to know why or to put those things into words. So today we're going to talk about the most important indicators to look for so that you can specifically identify the challenges and figure out ways that you want to take steps forward. And if you stick around till the end, I'll share a free resource that will help you assess your specific work situation. Let's get into it. The first sign that your job isn't working for you is that you fail to see the impact of your work. There's nothing better than seeing the impact of the hard work that you're putting in, but unfortunately, this is not the default in our work situations today. About 40% of Americans work for a large or a very large company. And when you work for a big organization, it can be really easy to feel like a small cog in a big machine. But you don't necessarily have to work for a huge company to feel this way. The next sign is that you lack opportunities to learn or build new skills. Learning can not only help you grow your career, but it also can make the day-to-day more interesting and rewarding. If you don't have this, it's a sign that the relationship with your employer is transactional and they're not invested in your growth and development. This may be okay for a period of time, but it'll eventually leave you feeling unsatisfied and wanting more. The next sign is that you lack the resources to do your work effectively. This can mean a number of things, but it often means technology. When your company has invested in resources that help to streamline your work, it means that you have the opportunity to add value in other ways besides doing repetitive tasks. If you've been in a job that fails to make this investment, you know that it can be pretty miserable. It's hard to know that there are better ways to do the job, but be unable to access the tools that would allow you to streamline your work. Resources could also mean support, training, staffing, or even having adequate time to do the job. When you lack the resources to do your job well, it can be incredibly frustrating. The next sign that your job is not working for you is that your input or perspective doesn't matter. Perhaps your boss or your team doesn't even ask what you think, or even worse, maybe they ask you, but then completely ignore it. Hello? Did you hear what I said? Over here. Without feeling like you have a voice, it's hard to feel valued or trusted. These are essential elements in feeling like your job is working for you. The next sign is that you lack autonomy to make decisions about your work. Work is best when you feel in charge of the work that you do. No one wants someone micromanaging every single decision that you make. Did you think about that? Stop and think about the decisions that you're able to make on your own and assess whether you have the autonomy that you deserve. And you know what else you have the autonomy to do? Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. That'll go a long way in helping us reach more people. The next sign that your job isn't working for you is that time is wasted. When was the last time that you spent hours working on busy work that didn't actually matter? Or that you spent weeks working on a project that was just tossed to the side? It can be really easy to accept wasted time at work. I mean, you're still getting paid, right? But having so much wasted time can be incredibly draining and frustrating, and it doesn't have to be this way. The next sign is that you have no flexibility to have a life outside of work. Is your work so demanding that it regularly disrupts your personal life? Or do you have the flexibility to go to the doctor during the day, pick up kids from school, or run other occasional errands? And more importantly, do you have time to be able to schedule things like hanging out with friends and participating in your hobbies without work getting in the way? Flexibility and work-life balance are essential to have your job work for you. In addition to flexibility, another sign that your job isn't working for you is if you don't have adequate time off. Now, we know that everyone wants more time off. That's a given. But if your employer only provides you with 2 weeks of vacation time and you have to be there for 3 years, and then you might get a 3rd week of vacation, that's not adequate in my mind. Think about the experiences that you want to have in your life and the relationships near and far that you want to cultivate. Do you have enough time off to be able to invest in those things? I knew that I wanted to travel more than any workplace would ever allow, so that was one of my main motivations to become an entrepreneur. However, you don't need to be an entrepreneur to get additional time off. I've seen people negotiate sabbaticals, unpaid time off throughout the year, and even additional vacation time. Along the line of benefits, another sign that your job isn't working for you is that you aren't paid fairly for the work that you perform. This can mean a lot of things, but you'll want to benchmark your salary both inside and outside of your company. Take a look at what other people doing the same job in your field are being paid. You can find out this information by using websites like Glassdoor or salary.com. Then see how your salary compares to your peers. First, look to see if your company has a public compensation philosophy where they post salary ranges or reasons for different salary levels. If they don't, I'd also encourage you to look at new job descriptions to see what they publicly share as the salary ranges for the roles. This can help you get a good sense of whether you're being paid fairly for the work that you do. The next sign is that you don't feel like you have control over your career path. Do you feel like you don't have any freedom to pursue ideas or learning opportunities that interest you? Is there one single career path that's scripted by your employer? Is the only option to move up in the company to become a people manager? Unless what they want for you is genuinely what you want for yourself, it's a good sign that this job is not going to work for you long term. The last few signs we'll talk about today are more related to how you approach work. The next sign is that work is the center of your universe. When you think about your life, you think about your work, and that's it. You define yourself by your job. Studies have shown that there are serious psychological risks associated with tying your work too closely to your identity. This is one of the reasons why many retirees struggle to transition out of the traditional workforce. It's important and healthy to have a life outside of work. The ideal is to have work be one part of an overall rich life rather than the center of your universe. If you're struggling with this, I would encourage you to start setting boundaries and take all of your vacation times so that you can focus on investing in your life outside of work. This is a nice transition to the next sign, which is that you don't, or you feel like you can't, set boundaries around the time that you spend working. When was the last time that you responded to an email after work hours, or stopped everything that you were doing on a Saturday to respond to an instant message from one of your colleagues? Sometimes we fail to set boundaries, and we can improve work by doing so. Sometimes we try to set boundaries, and those boundaries are plowed through by our bosses and our colleagues. If that's the case, it's likely a sign that you'll want to move on. The next and last sign is that you lack a strong sense of personal power. In other words, you can't easily say, I don't need this job, and I have other options. Common discourse that reinforces traits like loyalty and commitment might lead you to believe that it's better to stay in your job and be loyal to your company. But your company is not your family. Unless they work hard to make an environment and place where you want to stay long term, you don't owe them your loyalty. It's important to understand what alternative options exist to you outside of your current job and to build financial freedom. If things go sour at your employer, that will allow you to leave and find something that's a better match. I hope that these 13 signs have helped you assess your current work situation. We discuss all of these and more in our work self-assessment guide. I've included a link below so that you can download the guide. The guide will help you assess what are the challenges in your current work situation and what specific steps that you could take to improve them. And if you find that there are multiple things that you want to focus on, it will also help you prioritize which are most important. Check out the link in the description below. I am confident that it will help you figure out steps you can take to make work better for you. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them into the comments and we'll answer every single one of them. One of the common themes in this guide is flexibility. It can be hard to advocate for yourself and negotiate flexibility with your current employer. Check out this video to learn about our 4-step process to negotiating more flexibility at work. As always, thanks for watching and enjoy the journey.